Your loyalty is to your rank and file members that put you in those seats, not to the leadership. Loyalty is to your brother and sister, their sweat equity, and that's what you stand up and fight for.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
This caller from a 347 area code. Caller from a 347 area code. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing? My name is Steven. I'm a member of Branch 41, Brooklyn, Staten Island merged. Can you hear me?
Steven from Branch 41. I can hear you. What's on your mind?
Okay, great. I want to thank both yourself and Adam for helping to open up some eyes and ears for the NALC. I'm calling in because you had Mike Kareff on a week or so ago, and you had asked him a question concerning locality pay, where currently Alaska and Hawaii get a 25% TPOLA, and he explained the process a bit of how these come up at resolutions at our convention. And just to kind of explain to you, each branch is entitled to one delegate for every 20 members. So Brooklyn, Staten Island, we have a little more than 2,000, but let's round it to 2,000. So that means you're entitled to 100 delegates. However, the cost involved of getting to that convention, just like our brother for Indianapolis mentioned, so we don't get 100 people to show up. Our bylaws allow currently 35 paid delegates, and sometimes you don't even get the paid delegates because you got to burn up your own vacation time. So it's not like you're voting for proxy. It's not like if 20 people show up, then they're entitled to the prorated amount of people they represent. Right. So that was something. And what I was really struck, though, at that convention, I watched The Great Strike. It's a documentary of the Great Strike of 1970. And one thing that really got me, they showed you a map. Of course, Branch 36 going out first, 41 up in the Northeast, Minneapolis. In the Midwest, I believe it was Milwaukee and Denver, and then we had the West Coast. And most of the other people in the room were people older than me, retired. But what I really noticed, and you even alluded to that fact, the Southeast, Midwest, and the Southwest were noticeably not really being indicated that they went out. So it was referred to as collective begging previously, and then we got collective bargaining. However, in the NALC, we still have collective begging, and that's members like myself that live in these high-cost areas, but it constantly gets voted down. And it's, in essence, a carrier pay should be the same across the country. Well, our base pay is the same, but in order to get locality pay, that would be, I think it's presently for the AFGE, I don't know if it's 3,000 to 5,000, because all your other federal workplaces do receive a locality pay. I had previously applied for customs, and they explained, well, there's at the time, I think it was like 3,000. And that's just something that we are still collectively begging. Now, when that resolution came up for a vote, what really surprised me was another New York City branch, which will go unnamed, all of their delegates stayed sitting down. And I got out of my seat and I went up there and says, hey, I know that's your boy up on the dais because their president happens to be on the national board. I says, but you represent your rank and file brothers and sisters back there. Do you go back and tell them that, are they all under rent control? Their rent is that low? And that was something like, whose interest do we represent? When you show up at these things, your loyalty is to your rank and file members that put you in those seats, not to the leadership. Loyalty is to your brother and sister, their sweat equity, and the dues money that they pay. And that's what you stand up and fight for. So to me, that was very disappointing because that very same branch, that was Vinny's branch. And I think he would be a little bit disappointed if he was at the forefront. And when it came to sticking up for your members, the people at that convention stayed sitting down. A quick thing on this going to arbitration. I'm
really quick,
wondering to myself.
Yeah, really quick. We need to wrap it up. So this will be the final point, and then we'll get to
it down. But now, as it goes to arbitration, who tells the NALC lawyers what to fight for? So hopefully all that transparency and translucency and opaqueness, I just hope the right thing gets done. And I want to thank you for your time. Thanks a lot.
Yep, thanks, Stephen, Branch 41. Appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
This caller is from a 715 area code. 715 area code. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is Nick, and I'm in Minnesota.
Nick from Minnesota. What's on your mind?
All right, is everybody cool? Is everybody good? And, don't treat me like a 204B. I'm not a 204B either. I don't speak on the behalf of the Postal Service. These are my thoughts and opinion as well. Just kind of floating this out there that nobody really talks about, and I've heard this in the past before. I have an all-mounted route, and, if we want to save costs at the Postal Service, eliminating walking routes should be on the table. I know it's not popular for walking city couriers, but mounted routes, including mine, we do maybe 300 more people. We have, 100 more packages. We have more flats. We have more letters. I mean, we have less letters. We have less flats, but we do have more packages, and, you could absorb a lot of the ox routes, and have more. We're just kind of getting honest with ourselves about how to save some money and start looking at, the writing on the wall, absorbing, walking routes into all mounted wouldn't be a bad idea.
What's a mounted route?
Money.
Can you
it's
explain
more efficient and you get more done.
Can you explain a
sure,
mounted route?
Yeah, a mounted route is just certainly. Mounted route is just a classification for all driving. And, I've seen the argument saying, well, what are you going to do, when you have the 90-year-old on your route, that has trouble getting to the mailbox? Well, they file for a thing called a hardship. And then now the mounted carrier on a mounted route then walks to their door to, deliver the mail. And I have almost 900 people on my all mounted route. And it was actually tipping at 1,100, but it's got an adjustment. So anyway, I've had, maybe 10 hardships. It's not that common to get out, for hardships. There's plenty of elderly on my route too. I mean, just kind of getting that out there. I just wanted to kind of float that out to everyone. I know it's going to get it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And so what would it mean then for a walking route? And I've been covering, I've been covering some of the carrier stuff, but obviously the deeper we go into the stuff, the less visibility that I have on these specific issues. And so what does it mean to quote unquote absorb a walking route into a mounted route? Because it seems like it would just seem that there are some places in the country that are urban enough that walking is the most efficient thing. And so what does it mean to absorb a walking mount into a mounted route, and how does that make it more efficient?
Okay. Well, if you put, CBUs or NBUs, it's like the same, it's almost the same term, but a CBU is where everyone on the street, maybe 15, 20 houses all go to this area to get their mail in like a locked box. By the way, this will also help with heat illness. Like if we're going to talk about safety and you're in a mail truck, let's say you're in the new mail truck that has an AC. Let's just say, or you're in the Metro that has AC. You're going to be safer in the heat as well. You're not going to be walking around. Also, burglary or getting robbed, I believe you'll have a less chance of that while you're on a mounted route as well. That's another safety thing you can, also talk about. And then the safety team of the previous caller saying checking your proper shoes, in regions where I live, there's ice everywhere. You're getting out less, so you're less of a safety risk. So now you have less worker comp claims. And as going back to your point though, what does it mean for to absorb? Well, obviously that walking route that is, let's say 8.5 hours, on average, let's say, and you make it all mounted, it's going to turn into 6 hours. Now it's not a full route. Now we have a problem. And I totally understand. So now if you have an ox route in your office, you need to absorb that and slice it up and deviate it where geographically it's most convenient for, that route to still stay a full route.
Gotcha. All right.
Because you don't want to start cutting everyone's full-time position. All right. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Thanks for the call.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.